in their attempt to watch them play at the stadium. To better mobilize public funds and ensure they get into the right coffers, public accountants and revenue collectors in Cameroon's economic capital, Douala, have been schooled on how to prevent cases of mismanagement. This was during one of their annual meetings in Douala this Friday. And more than 1 million people are reported to have benefited from the Regional Stabilization Facility of the United Nations Development Programme aimed at fighting against extreme terrorism in the 4 window countries, that is Cameroon, Nigeria, Chad and Niger. This was during a board meeting of the Regional Stabilization Fund that held in Douala to assess the achievements of the Regional Stabilization Facility and talk about the challenges. Those were our headlines. Stay tuned for developments.
Canal International.
Good evening once again, and thanks for joining us on the Primetime Newscast in the English language on Canal International. We begin with the story from the nation's capital, Yaoundé. The indomitable lions of Cameroon have handed down financial support to families of victims of the Olembe Stadium. The gesture, the players say, is aimed at comforting the families of their loved one who continue to mourn them as they were in their attempt to watch them play. That was during the African Nations Cup in January this year. The check was handed down over to the families of the victims in Yaoundé today by the indomitable Lions team player Vincent Aboubakar. The details with Hysen Chia from Yaoundé.
Though with heavy hearts and still in pool of tears, the 8 families of the Olembe Stampede victims honored the call of the indomitable Lions this Friday at the Fecafoot headquarters in Yaoundé. Pictures of their departed loved ones still kept jealously as they remember the January 24th tragic incident. Today, team captain Vincent Aboubakar and goalkeeper Andre Onana, on behalf of the team, are here to comfort and wipe the tears of the bereaved families with a financial token of 50 million CFA francs. My teammates and I decided to carry out this little gesture as a way of expressing our sympathy. It is nothing. We know what you are going through after that great loss. We shall continue to strive harder and to honor those souls. A gesture highly appreciated by the families as that which comes to strengthen them in their difficult moments.
Les gens compatir à mon chagrin.
When people share in my sad moments, it shows that people are thinking about us. It tells me I'm not alone. They know what I am going through. From the bottom of my heart, I say thank you to the support. Special thanks to my family, the indomitable Lions. I can't bring back my son, but with your support, I am stronger.
Mais je peux, à travers votre appui, faire perdurer son nom.
It was equally an occasion for the president of the Cameroon Football Federation, Samuel Etofis, to re-echo the condolence messages of the entire football family to the parents, sons, daughters and friends of the victims who lost their lives while out to support the indomitable Lions defend the colors of the country at the Total Energies African Cup of Nations in Cameroon.
Let's talk economy. To better mobilize public funds and ensure they get into the right coffers, public accountants and revenue collectors in Cameroon's economic city, Douala, have been schooled on better management of finances in their departments. This was during one of their annual meetings that held in Douala this Friday. The details in the following report. To prevent cases of embezzlement and mismanagement of public funds, the Ministry of Finance is building the capacities of these public accountants and revenue collectors in hospitals and schools in Cameroon's economic city, Douala, on how to better mobilize and manage funds collected.
We've specified our training to revenue collectors from schools and hospitals, for example, they have a particular outcome because most of what they recover is used for their service, because of the social nature of what they are doing, their activities, hospitals, schools. You can see the social factor. But only they need to always remember that even though this money is supposed to be used for their, their needs, it is public revenue.
The public accountants and revenue collectors are also being drilled on good practices in finance management.
There's the financial regime law of 2018, which consecrates the monopoly of all mobilization of state revenue to the public treasury. So the public treasury, by virtue of the law, is the only intermediary between money collected and the way it is used. But today in practice, we find financial banks in violation of the law. We find financial institutions in violation of the law. Not only the treasury is set aside in the framework of recovery, which is in violation of the law, we find money being lodged in private accounts, which is not correct, which is contrary to the law.
After updating their skills, the public accountants and revenue collectors are expected to contribute towards fighting against mismanagement of public funds in the country. Let's talk health. Medics have called on government to give priority to sickle cell by calling on Cameroonians to know their genotype before marriage. This was made, or the call was made during a conference in Douala today ahead of the International Sickle Cell Day that comes up on June 19. During the conference, it was revealed that about 300,000 babies are born yearly with the sickle cell disease. Let's have a listen to the following excerpt.
In Africa, about 20% of the population is affected by sickle cell disease, while in Cameroon, statistics shows that about 18% of Cameroonians have the disease, while about 30% have the sickle cell trait. Management of sickle cell crisis include lifestyle modifications where the patients need to be properly hydrated, they need to be on balanced diet, they need to seek adequate medical care early, especially if they have signs of infections. They also have to avoid strenuous exercises and areas of low oxygen tension like areas with heights. And also prevention of crisis, including taking their daily folic acid, medications like hydroxyurea for those who are having repeated crises, or those who stroke, or those who avascular necrosis of the head of the femur.
In the area of sickle cell management, we are focusing on sickle cell patients, those who have the sickle cell condition already. And so we are partnering with some hospitals like here in Bonaberi, Mbingo and next to have what we call sickle cell clinic. And the sickle cell clinic is where patients come for regular follow-up. If you have regular follow-up and you meet the doctor every month, you can reduce the frequency of the crisis. And since we started doing that year in particular, since a year now, the patients are doing well. There are very less cases of a crisis.
Newly recruited researchers and staff of the Ministry of Scientific Research and Innovation are in the School of Ethics, Deontology and Administrative Writing to enable them better handle administrative reports and manage resources. They will be at their disposal. The Inspector General of the Ministry of Scientific Research and Innovation opened the training session on June 9 at the Ministry in the nation's capital, Yaoundé. Let's take a listen to this excerpt selected for us by Umur Kusumi.
It is a kind of training. The first one is towards those who are coming from regions, and the second directed to those who recently joined Minorizi. It has to do with the competence building and the newcomers at the Minorizi who need to develop skills in administration. Administration is not easy. So they are just arrived and they need to know how the administration functions and how to work within the frame of the administration. And it also aims at connecting them to the entire ecosystem of the administration.
security, more than 1 million people are reported to have benefited from the Regional Stabilization Facility of the United Nations Development Program aimed at fighting against extreme terrorism in the four windows countries, that is Cameroon, Nigeria, Niger, and Chad. This was disclosed during the board meeting of the Regional Stabilization Facility that held in Douala, that was on June 9, 2022. The details in the following report.
Apart from acts of banditry, highway robbery, abduction and cattle rustling plaguing countries of the Lake Chad Basin, the Boko Haram crisis remains one of the most significant security challenges to be tackled by the Regional Stabilization Facility. Board members of the facility meeting in Douala June 9 and 10, 2022 are taking stock of the challenges in the four country windows and achievements this far.
Become more stable, and they have opportunity to enjoy additional security provisions, presence, and patrols in the area. And from their own accounts, these have led them to feel more confident to continue to engage in their normal activities. We've seen children going back to schools, schools that have also been expanded and renovated and better equipped through the services provided under the stabilization program in the four countries of Cameroon, Chad, Niger, and Nigeria.
According to the Regional Stabilization Fund, there are also mass surrenders and people returning to their communities, but lack of additional resources to cater for them remains a problem.
But it's a challenge that you now have to cater for more people as a result of those developments. We always never have enough resources, and getting additional resources is a challenge.
Since several years, we are contributing around 75 million euro, and we will continue our support. And we will continue also with new donations. And it's a strong partnership we have developed with governments concerned here, with local and regional authorities and governments, and of course with our international partners.
The Regional Stabilization Fund says the governments of Cameroon and Nigeria have shown greater commitments, hoping Chad and Niger will follow so that they could fight against the violent extremist groups.
And we talk sports. Former indomitable lion Patrick Mboma has been handed down the function of the ambassador of the Indomitable Lions. The two-time African champion signed a partnership agreement with the Cameroon Football Federation. That was today, June 10, 2022, and expressed readiness to take up the baton with the 4-year time frame and contribute to greater achievements. You have the details in our subsequent newscasts.
My feeling first is that I'm very satisfied, happy, and honored to be among this big house with Football Federation of Cameroon. Honored to be considered by my fellow countrymen, but mostly by my president, who gave me the honor to be part of the family again and again. Even if I consider that I'm always part of the family, but this time it's something written. I try to do my best to help the federation, the teams, all this family to keep on raising and shining in Africa and throughout the world.
That was Patrick Mboma expressing his joy after signing the partnership agreement. And it is to that note that we wrap up this edition of the Primetime Bilingual Newscast on Canal, the international, the French version of the newscast. Will be yours at 7:50 with Aimé Catherine Mokere. I will be yours same time on Monday. Bye-bye.